Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Good news if you're the president to tout, but some of it's not all good. The economy rose 5.7% in 2021, the fastest full-year clip since 1984, 6.9% from October to December. But with that brings a ton of complications. Some of the stuff we talked about yesterday. So much of the growth that has happened is some of it is brought on by the fact that we spent, and we threw tons of money at a problem called the pandemic. And because of that, inflation rose and even outdid many people's checks.
Inflation remains well above our longer-run goal of 2%. Supply and demand imbalances related to the pandemic and the reopening of the economy have continued to contribute to elevated levels of inflation. While the drivers of higher inflation have been predominantly connected to the dislocations caused by the pandemic, price increases have now spread to a broader range of goods and services.
No, that's Fed Chair Powell. Translation: we're going to start raising stuff sooner rather than later. And the reason is the economy in certain areas got completely overheated. We have an uneasy economy. So to do what they need to do, raising rates is something they're going to have to do, because what's it do for that?
The increase will make borrowing money more expensive on everything from mortgages to cars to credit card bills. Rates have been near zero since early in the pandemic, but with consumers now eager to spend, the Fed hopes the interest rate increase will slow the economy.
In light of the remarkable progress we've seen in the labor market, the economy no longer needs sustained high levels of monetary policy support.
Fed Chair Jerome Powell also hinting rates will likely go even higher. Some analysts now expect up to 5 rate hikes this year.
Yeah, that's huge. Money's more expensive, making it harder to borrow. Harder to borrow means that the demand for certain things will slow down. The demand for certain things like homes. When people buy homes, they want to furnish their homes, right? They're like, let's not bring our crappy furniture to our new house. That sucks. Let's burn all that stuff and get new stuff. They want new appliances. They want new furniture. Those are big ticket items. If you're not buying homes, chances are you're not buying big ticket items. So the whole thought process is we're going to even this thing out. What? I don't know how that's going to go. I don't. I think as many people who are economists that really are more into the actual running of the economy, not the political aspect of it, think that the Fed is at this point in time, because of the pumping in so much money over the last decade and a half or whatever they've done since 2008-ish, that the addiction of cheap money is going to unsettle the market. It's a possibility. But there's no denying that while 5.7% is phenomenal, pandemic and increased pressures of us throwing money at stuff caused this thing to get a little bit more sideways. And then what do you have? You got inflation, and it's hitting everything, including Heinz.
Kraft Heinz will increase the cost of dozens of its products, including Velveeta cheese, Maxwell House coffee, Kool-Aid, Capri Sun drinks, and Oscar Mayer hot dogs.
Oh, God. Can you believe that? Now, I'm a Hebrew national guy, but the thought process of that going up right now is crazy. Plus, all those people are buying bologna and doing some sort of bologna face mask. You need to stop it. Just letting you guys know that. So, good news. In some ways, in other ways, it's still a sitting in its way, because the average person hears this and they're like, I don't really, what's it mean to me? It means to you, if you're going to go buy a house today, the interest rate you're going to pay today is probably $200 more than you would have paid as far as, on top of that mortgage. That interest rate is going to bump that payment up probably $100 to $200 from the last 60 to 90 days. If they raise rates 5 times, that's going to cool this thing off tremendously, pricing many people out, which could potentially unsettle the housing market, which many people think is a bubble anyways. So we'll see. We shall see. Yesterday, surprising news, even to Breyer. What? Yeah. Breyer is leaving. No, not the ice creams guy. Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer's done. Stephen Breyer, done. He's done. Stepping away. A lot of people are excited about it. I think a lot of people are looking at him, and there's been tons of pressure on this cat to step down. They look over, you're 83 years old. We don't need another Ruth Bader Ginsburg moment where you decide to step down in 4 or 5 years, but all of a sudden Republicans in the White House and the Republicans control the Senate, and all of a sudden something happens to you, and what ends up happening? Well, they've got control of this. And it was like, oh, God. What happens at that point in time? Well, then, I've always said, and I'll continue to do so, for all the stuff about Trump, the hyperbole, the craziness, the chaos, the good, the bad, all of that, his lasting legacy is going to be this court. It is 6-3. 6-3. Breyer leaving isn't going to change anything. It gives him a nominee, but what it does do is it puts somebody younger on the court, but it doesn't do anything other than that. And then, of course, who will it be? Who will it be? Well, he promised that it was going to be a black woman.
Now, during the campaign, President Biden stated that he would choose a black woman as his choice for the Supreme Court, and I expect he'll follow through on that.
Yeah, I don't see. I think they've already got. There's already a couple front runners. The two front runners who everybody is looking at is KBJ, Ketanji Brown Jackson. Okay, guess where she went to school? Harvard. You're right, correct. And Harvard Law School. She's federal judge since 2013. Elevator 2020. The U.S. Court of Appeals for D.C. Circuit. The probably most powerful non-SCOTUS court in the land. She clerked for Breyer at one time. So she's kind of in the lead. She's 51. And here's an interesting thing. Her brother-in-law, if I'm correct, is Paul Ryan, former Speaker of the House, Republicans. And he speaks highly of her. Leandra Kruger is probably second on this list. California Supreme Court since 2015. She's argued cases at the Supreme Court as a federal lawyer and clerked for John Paul Stevens. There's several other names out there, but really, Ketanji Brown Jackson is the lady that's in the lead that everybody's looking at. So now the question is, if you're the Republicans, how do you play it? Right? Do you go out and you go, okay, like who did she molest potentially, or sexually assault when she was 16 at a high school party somewhere? Oh, wait, now you're doing the Kavanaugh thing. No. Or do you just usher her in? Right? Just usher her on in. It's all good. Because many of them have, like Murkowski, Lindsey Graham, Susan Collins have all voted for her when she was getting confirmed. I don't think you're going to get, you're not changing somebody for somebody that is polar opposite. You're not getting rid of an originalist. You're swapping a liberal for a liberal. And everybody's expecting Mitch to go, oh, God, we can't have this person on here. We can't have a black lady in the Supreme Court. And if I'm him, I play it in a much different way. Cordial. Ask her questions, as you should do. Challenge her on some things, as you should do. But then when it comes to voting, vote. We don't do that anymore. Think about what it is now. We had to get to a point where they had to have the nuclear option. And having the nuclear option, it's now so ridiculous because so many of these people who refuse to vote for somebody for the Supreme Court have voted for these people in lower courts to confirm them. Let's go back to Stephen Breyer. Let's go back then, way back. What did he get?
That 87-9 Senate confirmation vote back in 1994, unimaginable today. Justice Breyer knows it, and he's trying to give President Biden and Senate Democrats as much time as possible to choose and to confirm his successor.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see. But it doesn't change anything. It doesn't. It doesn't change any makeup in the court. The things will be the exact same. She's ruled for Obama and against Obama. She's ruled against Trump. So, is she liberal? She is. At the end of it all, you wake up tomorrow, it's still 6-3, no matter what happens. That's it. So, people freaked out yesterday. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. And I saw a lot of people out there going, it's got to be Kamala Harris, right? They're going to put Kamala Harris in there. It's got to be. She's a woman of color, right? She was a lawyer, right? She was a prosecutor. She was AG. It's got to be. It's not going to be her. It's not going to be her. Now, they may go, God, it would be nice to be her, but it's not going to be her. So funny, though. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. A lot of stuff still to squeeze in here. Plus, I'm going to do something, and I think we should all get behind what I'm going to do. That sounds weird, right? Yeah, but I think we should. Like, we should all get behind what I'm going to do. I think you guys will agree if not so much you're like-minded, but you're just in a position where you go, yeah, you know what? We need something like that. And the anti-work movement is growing. And when you hear Doreen and the anti-work crusade that she is leading, you should fear for the future of America. Don't fear for getting up, though, and having energy. I don't. What do? Longevity. That's it. Every single day, wake up and take my Longevity. Now, I have the Healthy Body Start Pack. It is incredible. It's comprehensive supplement plan that gives my body all the things I need, right? First of all, essential nutrients, because, I don't always eat the best way. Health. It helps with my health because it gives me a great blend of vitamins, minerals, amino acids, essential fatties, and it knows, hey, Chad, you're not eating all the fruits and veggies you're supposed to. But it also knows I need energy level. And that's the other thing. I got up today. I had 2 hours and 40 minutes of sleep, according to my watch, and I will work till 7 or 8 o'clock tonight. I get up about 2:15 in the morning. First thing I do, tangerine, drink mix. Oh, yeah. It's got 90 essential nutrients, pre- and probiotics. Also, take my Beyond Osteo FX, calcium, magnesium formula, optimizes the absorption there, maximize that. And then the ultimate EFA Plus, and it's got a full range of omegas, which is great for my brain and my heart. Go to ChadBensonHealth.com. Join me. Kickstart True Wellness. That's ChadBensonHealth.com or call 855-321-HEALTH. Order right now. Receive free shippings. Coming to you free. ChadBensonHealth.com or call 855-321-HEALTH. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
Be on my side, I'll be on your side.
This morning, Spotify users will need to go elsewhere to listen to Neil Young. The audio streaming giant is removing Young's music catalog after the Grammy winner said Spotify has become the home of life-threatening COVID misinformation, lies being sold for money. Young singled out podcaster Joe Rogan, who has cast doubt on the need for vaccines.
I don't think that if you're a young, healthy person, that you need it.
Young delivering an ultimatum. They can have Rogan or Young, not both. And now Spotify appearing to side with Rogan, who with his estimated 11 million listeners and reported $100 million contract has become a flashpoint of controversy.
And again, everybody under the age of 35 is like, who? Oh, who did you think they were going to side with? And by the way, when you listen to the clip, the disingenuousness of it, he says, I don't think healthy 20 or 30 somethings need to really go get this. Yeah, okay. That's probably, I don't think they do either. Now, to try to slow the spread, stop the spread, those kind of things. But do I think that if you're just worried about will they catch it and die? No, I'm not. Just let you know that. He didn't say don't. Did he? But still, the beauty of this insanity now of trying to get things canceled or I don't like your whatever the hell you're saying. anywhere out there is scary, and everybody should be scared. Everybody should be scared. They should all stand up and say, all right, enough. Enough, right, Neil? Enough. Didn't you do an album about Monsanto, which, like, all that stuff you screamed and yelled about, like, none of it turned out to be real? It's like, come on. But that's kind of where we are now. It's like, I don't like what you say, so the best thing that I can do is appeal to people's feelings, never asking any questions, and that's scary. You don't have to like Joe Rogan. I don't like everybody he has on there. I don't really even listen. You know what? I will catch some clips here and there, but I don't listen to much, really. I mean, I'm working all the time, so it's kind of hard, but I find a lot of the people he has on interesting. A lot of times, the people that I find that he has on interesting, he's talking about aliens and UFOs. Here's a perfect example of something. Like, you want to talk about disinformation, misinformation, all kinds of stuff. We can talk about UFOs and Bigfoot. He has people on talking about hunting for Hitler. Couldn't that be misinformation or disinformation? Well, I don't know. I mean, these guys think Hitler's survived all of this. Well, that guy's telling a lie. You become a corporate shill. It is amazing. It's so amazing. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Plus, they're like, look, if he's getting 11 million downloads per podcast. What does that make? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Do the math. 44 million downloads. 44 million. Heading towards 200 million plus a month. And we owe him 100 million, so we're going to go with that guy. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Anti-work movement is growing. This is not good. I'm going to say this again. Not good. Wait till you hear this. Oh, my Lord. What are we doing? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The economy, somewhat red hot last year as far as growth went.
The U.S. economy grew at a 6.9% annual rate in the last 3 months of 2021. The growth in gross domestic product reflects both the depth of the damage done by the pandemic, but also the copious aid from the government, low interest rates, and vaccinations. Growth slowed a bit in more recent weeks due to the Omicron variant, but consumers have continued to spend, and economists hope growth resumes as the variant fades.
That's what they hope. But it was up. But with that kind of explosion, things get out of whack. And one of the things they talked about, that Aaron Katursky over there, our buddy over at Asian News, talks about is the copious amounts of money that the government has thrown at everybody and everything. And the everything, when it comes to the market, is called quantum easing, right? Go and you buy bonds at you throw billions upon billions of dollars a month at buying bonds. You make money cheap, which means people go out and then they start to purchase, because purchasing something at an interest rate that is virtually zero makes things affordable, which means there's demand. And when there is demand, people have jobs. That's a good thing. But then it can get a little overdone. And then you throw in the chaos of what we saw with the supply chains, and then the fact that after a while we had printed so much money and we become our trade deficit had gotten so big, you start putting it all together, and then that's where the inflation comes in, and now we're sitting in a world where we've seen inflation outgain any gains you're making at the your business, right? You've maybe gotten a salary, and you get a little bump in pay, well, you know what? Unless you've gone across the street and they've bumped you 10%, you're either breaking even or you're losing money depending on where you are in the country. If you got a 7% raise here in Arizona, while inflation, quote unquote, was 7%, we were at 9.5%. I mean, with our inflation. So your 7% raise, you're down 2.5%. Oh. Some good news, some bad news. The question is, what happens when they turn the spigot off and they're not throwing money and buying bonds? Money gets more expensive. Everybody talks about, well, we have more in savings now than we've had in forever, except for the fact that we had way more in savings prior to COVID. And that's changed a lot. Then you've got the worker shortage. And now you've got this bizarre, weird world of the anti-worker. That's right, the anti-worker. There's a subreddit blog in 2014 called abolishwork.com. Since then, it has grown exponentially, and it's an anti-work subreddit, and it's got another threads, and it's crazy. And you see how many jobs are available, and at the same time, how many people are even applying for jobs. That will also cause inflation and issues. Eventually, the labor force doesn't catch up to what's needed, and what starts to happen? Well, contraction inside of the economy. Now you've got a whole group of people. Read an article the other day. 1 in 8 able-bodied, working-aged males is unemployed. Unfathomable 2 decades ago. Crazy. And a younger generation, they're enjoying the I don't want to work thing.
Why do you like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
So there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort. We want to put in labor, but we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped. You just quoted from Office Space, where that person feels very trapped in their job. I think we're calling for a society where there's less of that.
So less of being trapped in your job. We've all been in jobs we didn't like, right? We've all been in jobs. But first of all, nobody's forcing you to do anything. And Jesse Waters points that out here. And again, Doreen, as you guys can hear, is non-binary, which is all of this stuff plays into a lot of people just don't want to work and they just want to be creative, apparently.
But yeah, absolutely. People still want to do things. They just want to do things where they feel rewarded and they feel like they're in a good spot in their life and that their job respects them and stuff like that.
Doreen, but you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the employment, and you can walk away from that job at any time and quit. So I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy.
Impossible. Yes, lazy. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Now, Doreen's just starting to pick it up. Here we go.
Are you encouraging people to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where...
Whoa. You think lazy is a virtue? You're insane. You are. If you've ever gone on to the thread, the Reddit thread, and see some of these people who are, first of all, it's not just about not working. And we'll get back to Doreen here in a second. I'm going to point this out. Is some of it is also about bilking people and their companies, finding ways to take as much as you can while doing as little as possible. Whether they rig it so, and during this craziness of Omicron and then Delta and Megatron and whatever else is out there, during all of these things, the at-home work thing has given more people opportunity to kind of not really have to work. which I think has sped this movement up. Well, continue about your virtue.
A virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7, and it's good to have rest. That doesn't mean you should be resting all the time or not putting effort into things that you care about. But I think one of the
What do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want. I mean, I personally work. I have like a 20, 25-hour work weeks, which I think is fairly good. So I would like less work hours.
So that's fairly good. 20, 25 hours a week. Fairly good. Fairly good. I wonder what Doreen does.
And what do you do, Doreen?
I'm a dog walker.
A dog walker. Okay.
Yes.
And how?
So
how
I
old
find a
are
lot
you,
of
if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 30.
And is there something you want to do besides being a dog walker? Do you aspire to do anything more than dog walking, or is that kind of your pinnacle?
I love working with dogs. If I had to do this for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be super complaining. Dogs are wonderful animals. But I would love to teach.
Teach. So Doreen's going to go teach your kids. You guys ready for that? You guys ready for that? I wonder what kind of, Doreen probably has worked in the humanities somewhere.
What would you teach, Doreen?
Philosophy mostly. Just introduction to critical thinking, reason, stuff like that.
Well, I would love to take your class, Doreen. I would just be taking notes the whole time.
You'd be the only one, because Doreen's thing is you don't actually have to show up and work for it. And we can poke fun at Doreen all day, but the scarier thing is the fact that this thing has gone from about 100,000 people to over 1.8 million. People just don't want to work. They don't. They don't. Let's be honest. There's a larger group of people that are out there that don't want to work. They feel it's oppressive. They've been told that the person that owns the business is evil and bad. They've been told that that person is a thief and that you are no more than slave labor to them. And so, and then you've got the other side of it, which is, what'd that lady say on 60 Minutes a couple weeks ago about this? Like, well, you just want to find something that makes your heart sing? What the hell are you talking about? I love what I do. I am blessed. I worked hard to get here. I did. I sacrificed. I had nothing for several years. I busted my butt to get here. But I've done a lot of things. I have dug ditches. I love when people say, what have you done? I have dug ditches. I worked with my grandfather in the dump. That's right. The dump. That's what we used to call it. Well, what do you mean by a dump? You know where your trash goes? Oh, the landfills. Yes. I worked there for several years while doing radio and voiceovers with him, going and getting all of the metal and aluminum, tearing apart screen doors. I've done a lot. Never once in my life did I go, man, I'd like to do less. I've even talked about it here. I won the lottery tomorrow. I'm not quitting my job. I love what I do. I'm blessed. And yes, you should try to find something you love. And if you can make that a living, fantastic. But to do that, you have to work. When you listen to Doreen and read a lot of the other things that are out there in this anti-work movement, not just there, but other places, they want somebody else to work and to pay for stuff and to do things so they don't have to. That's insane. And that is not good for society. It isn't. The movements that are going on at a younger level, from all the gender stuff to all the wokeism to the anti-work, it feels like you go look at Rome and the collapse of many great societies. This is kind of what it was. We got to a point where it was soft and it goes south. Now, is that going to happen tomorrow? No, because luckily there's 350 million people How about this? I got a great idea. How about we take Doreen and everybody who doesn't want to work, and we tell them you guys no longer have to work here. But we have traded you to Mexico, Central and South America for people to be named later. Oh, I don't think they'd like that. I don't think so either. What do you think? Doreen has a phone. I bet. And a computer. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Oh, my Lord. And I'm all about figuring out great ways. I've said this, this year, I'm spending more time with my family. I love it. I'm spending more time with my daughter. I miss a lot of years with my son and he knew the sacrifices and stuff, but there's no work-life balance for me, and that's just kind of the way I'm built. But come on. My God, that is insane. It is. You know what else is insane? Letting these 20, 30, 40 pounds that you have on, guys, get away from you. Getting frustrated and going, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of these crazy diets, and then realize that crazy diet's not going to work because it's not real. That's why I'm doing Nutrisystem. Now, today, you're probably saying, Chad, okay, tell me about it. Somebody said to me yesterday, I did Nutrisystem like 12 years ago. The food was awful. I go, well, it's not the same. And I said, try this. And she was like, oh, my God. I said, exactly. Yesterday, my snack, chocolate chunk cookie with a hint of cinnamon. Delicious. For breakfast today, I had a muffin, a chocolate muffin, 30 grams of protein. That's right. Premium meals. Up and away with that protein. Bigger, filling, tastier. New restaurant faves? Yes. They got beef and bean burritos, sesame beef with broccoli, toasted ravioli. You name it, they have got it. Easy to prepare. You can make it in minutes, like up to 5 minutes. Boom. There's your food. Advanced Nutritional Science helps with what? When you're losing that weight, to keep that blood sugar level steady so you start to lose the weight and start keeping it off. And it's delivered right to me. That's the other thing. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, you will love it. You're not going to be hungry, and you're not going to be eating cardboard. You're going to be eating real food that tastes delicious. Right now, 50% off. Boom, guys. 50% off. I'm down like 10, 11 pounds. I feel amazing. Go to Nutrisystem.com/Chad right now. 50% off. You heard me right. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. You're going to save 50% off all plans. Do not wait. Special offers, not going to last forever, but it's all plans. Ladies, if you see something you like, go for it. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. Saves you 50%. Results vary. Offer restrictions apply. See website for details. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
The new docuseries We Need to Talk About Cosby takes a look at Bill Cosby's legacy and sexual assault accusations.
Bill Cosby had been one of my heroes.
It's from W. Kamau Bell, who Cosby's rep Andrew Wyatt calls a PR hack in a statement about the doc. He says Cosby has spent more than 50 years standing with the disenfranchised. He's the target of media lies and a victim of prosecutorial violations. That, he says, should be the subject for a professional documentary. And he again says Cosby vehemently denies all allegations made against him. We Need to Talk About Cosby premieres Sunday night on Showtime.
Except for the fact that you were convicted. You being out of jail based on the fact that the person who was the prosecutor before the person who prosecuted you said, we're not going to move forward on these charges. So in the civil case, you are free to talk. We would not use that against you because we're not going to prosecute you. So in the civil case, he spoke. The next guy comes in and goes, we are going to move forward, and we're going to take that information and we're going to use it against you. And because of that, you're out of jail. You're not out of jail because they're like, we got DNA and it doesn't match Bill Cosby. My goodness. How about you do a documentary about all of it? Whoa, that'd be crazy, Chad. I don't know about that. I mean, crazy. Yeah, you do a documentary about everything. The whole 9 yards. His conviction, it being overturned, how much money he paid out, etc., etc. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Oh, goodness, Phil. This is why we got to get fit. That's why you guys got to go to Nutrisystem.com/Chad. A man won a trip to space on SpaceX first tourist flight. Yes, that's right. He won a trip. He was super, super stoked. Except for the part where he's 330 pounds and he exceeded the weight limit of 250 and had to give his ticket away. Oh. I don't know if I'd want it. I'm like, wait, 330? And they're like, anything more than what we're putting in here will not make the trip back. We won't get to where we're going. I'm going to hold off on that. Oh, could you imagine that? Gave it to his buddy, his high school and college roommate. Good luck. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Check out all our great podcasts and craziness throughout all the interwebs at Chad Benson Show. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Denmark's going back to being normal. I said we're returning to normal. Life as we knew it. Off with the mask. Off with your head. Stops the COVID in its tracks. Danish Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen announced, we're done. We're done. We can't do this anymore. Sorry, we can't. We all can agree it's ridiculous, right? We all agree this is stupid. Enough. Restrictions currently in place for the public to wear masks on public transportations, restaurants and shops, people earning healthcare facilities, retirement homes, according to AP. However, February 1st, change of restrictions. Masks will only be required in hospital, healthcare facilities, and homes for the elderly. Outside of that, on you go. Onward you go. COVID cases are more than 46,000 a day on average over the last couple weeks. But they said they only got 40 people in hospital intensive care units. And because we're addicted to statistic porn, we like the big numbers, but we don't really care about, like, okay, what's the underlying situation? It's like when you hear that ICU rates, well, there's only 12% or 15% available. Yeah, that's about right. Remember, 99% of these hospitals are for-profit or wink-wink nonprofit. Having somebody in the ICU, that's good billing. So think about that for a second. So 65% is at like their bare minimum. Like, we're breaking even at 65%. Because their hospitals are businesses too. Well, it shouldn't be that way. But it is. But it is. I know we don't want money mixed in healthcare, but we do like stuff that people will strive to do for money that helps gets us, how should I say this? Vaccines, treatments. It's the happy medium that we need to figure out. But Denmark saying, we're going back. We're done. Denmark was one of the first European countries in 2020 to close schools and send employees home during the pandemic. And one of the things they're talking about is the fact that this Omicron, right? And what's the new one? Stealth. Sounds so stupid, the names they give them. Stealth. They're saying, look, infection rates are going up, but the reality is fewer and fewer people are becoming severely ill. Here's the other thing about that's not being talked about. They're in pretty good shape comparatively to us and some other advanced nations. Oh, yeah. That still plays a part in it. We don't want to admit that, but being fitter does help in a lot of ways. I know that's weird to say. Oh, that seems like now you're just being really mean. No, it's just the reality of it. If you're fitter, the chances of you recovering from anything, I don't care what it is. Take the coronavirus off the table because of its political nature. Chances are you're going to recover from a cold, a flu, an injury, several other things. Even when they look up, we were talking yesterday about that guy that they're not giving the heart to this guy because he's not vaccinated. If you're 26 and you're fit, but genetically something's wrong with your heart, you've had nothing to do, but you're super fit, and you need a heart transplant, or somebody's 48, they smoke and they're overweight, and they need a heart transplant, they're going to give it to you because you have a better chance of survival. And why is that? Because you're fit. Oh. The Scandinavians, a lot of European nations, tend to be fitter. Luckily for us, we have said, hey, we could get fit too, or we could just export all of this food, and then they could get fat. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. I think Biden has a mini smile on his face today.
The U.S. economy grew at a 6.9% annual rate in the last 3 months of 2021. The growth in gross domestic product reflects both the depth of the damage done by the pandemic, but also the copious aid from the government, low interest rates, and vaccinations. Growth slowed a bit in more recent weeks due to the Omicron variant, but consumers have continued to spend, and economists hope growth resumes as the variant fades.
Yeah, and I think it will somewhat, but I continue to go back to this bizarre, uneven economy we have. And I'm not talking about wealth inequality. People will say, oh, it's about wealth inequality. I'm just talking about we have this weird world where there are even middle-class people that are doing well. And then there are some people who aren't doing well, like within the same socioeconomic kind of world. But the raising of interest rates, and, they're predicting potentially up to 5 hikes this year, making money more expensive, meaning people aren't going to spend as much because they're not going to be able to borrow. They'll probably tighten limits on certain things. People have overspent on their houses. There's a lot that goes into it. But when you buy a house, the big driving force when you buy a house is the fact that nobody wants to take their old crappy furniture into the new house. Oh, you're going to have to take some of it. But you look around, and you're like, well, I had to take some of it, but I'm also looking around and thinking to myself, a new couch, maybe big TV, right? Some new appliances. I'm picking stuff out. That spurs growth in other ways. So it's not just about the home. The accoutrements that go with it also drive so much of this. So I think the Fed is playing a game that they're not going to be able to win because unlike Feds in the past who've tried to do some of this, we've been pumping money in to the economy, not just in the last 2 years, but the quantum easing of buying cheap, buying bonds and cheap money to loan has been tremendous, and Wall Street became addicted to it in a major, major way. I think that's not going to do us a lot of favors when they ease out of it. And the other side of it, and this is important, is we don't know what's going to happen elsewhere. Our supply chain is no longer our supply chain. It's the world's supply chain. So that could hold stuff up. And then, of course, you've got the labor shortage. And there is a labor shortage. There's a massive labor shortage in this country. Some people at the beginning of this pandemic say, you know what, I'm done. They're in their late 50s, early 60s. They're like, I'm done. I'm opting out. We got enough in retirement. We're going to sell our house. The kids are out of the house. We're moving somewhere else. We're going to buy something cheaper, and we're going to have enough money to live off of, and maybe we'll do something part-time, but we're not returning to the workforce. Then you had people that got used to being home, and decided I don't want to do what I did before for several reasons. One, I want something with more mobility and flexibility. Two, I don't want to work, which is scary, but it's real. And then you've got people who are in this camp of, I want to do something better because I don't want to be beholden to a situation where at any given moment I'm expendable. So they've gone back to school or doing other things. But that labor shortage will also cause potentially the marketplace to contract. There's a lot that goes into this, and as the economy goes. And then you've got the energy prices. And energy prices, you know what? They're not going anywhere anytime soon as far as where they're sitting. And if they are to go somewhere fast, it's going to be up, depending on what takes place in the Ukraine. Earlier today, the Europeans started making deals with the U.S. and for us to start giving them options to supply them with other forms of energy. And that signals that they're worried that the spigot's going to get cut off and that Russia's going to play this game because they've weaponized the energy, which is what everybody said was going to happen. As much as Biden handing over Nord Stream 2 and saying this was a good idea, Trump didn't want to do it, but I can't blame it all on Biden because the Germans pushed for it hard. Hard. So it'll be interesting to see the way this thing plays itself out. But it grew fast, and that's a win. You'll come out, you'll hear a lot of that today. But there's also inflation and several other things, and we're feeling that. While it may have grown fast, the reality is your dollar isn't going as far, and you're feeling it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. People are pissed at Sarah Palin. Apparently she returned to dine outdoors at Elio's after it was revealed she tested positive for the vid. Off with her head! Manhattan restaurateur where Sarah Palin was spotted dining outdoors while unvaccinated over the weekend confirmed that the former Alaskan governor returned to dine outdoors Wednesday, just a few days after testing positive for COVID. So she's outside. Did she test positive? Well, she said she did. But then she said she went to go take another test, right? Because you take the at-home test, then you go take another test, the PCR test. But she got there, she said the line was ridiculous, so she didn't go in. And then I read the other day, it's like, what time did you take the test? Because now they're saying testing in the morning isn't good, and testing in the evening's not good. The sweet spot's like midday, early afternoonish. I'm like, now we got to worry about when we're testing? Yeah. A lot of rules. A lot of rules. We should off with her head, Sarah Palin. Off with your head. MyPillow, 6-day money-back guarantee, 10-year warranty, so many other products. But right now, how about this? Just get the best slipper around. My slipper. My slipper. Think about how amazing these things are. When you go and see them and you wear them indoors, outdoors. There's 3 cushion layers for the sole. It's got the patented fill. It's got this amazing gel. This impact gel, it's awesome. You got awesome suede leather with like this fur on the inside. You're going to love these things. Love them. Absolutely. 40% off right now. You'll find no deal better than this. The products are incredible, made right here in the United States of America. Deep discounts across all of the MyPillow products, from the Giza Dream Sheets to the towels to the mattress topper. As you guys know, it's my favorite. You name it, they've got it, and you will love it. Love it. 40% off right now, though. 40% off the My Slippers. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson saves you big right there. It's MyPillow.com, promo code Benson, 40% off My Slippers. MyPillow.com. Oh. Use that promo code Benson. Get those slippers. You'll be slipping out of them and slipping into them. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Find out what's trending. Start at Google today. Neil Young and Spotify. Spotify says, all right, we'll remove your music. It was between you or Joe Rogan who you demand be taken down. So we've decided to remove your music because you didn't want your music played there. And again, most of the people who listen to podcasts are like, who? Neil? What? Oh, it's not very nice. Just being real there. Stephen Breyer. Justice Breyer is going to retire from the Supreme Court, paving a way for the first African-American woman on the court. Ooh. Yep. That's going to happen. And it's going to happen. When? Not quite sure. Stephen Breyer apparently was not thrilled by the news getting out. He wanted to control this a little bit better than it did. So, but it will happen. And it'll happen sometime. I'm sure the announcement will come soon in the next several days. And then he'll step down eventually when they do choose somebody. Top of that, Peter Robbins died. We'll talk about, he was the voice of Charlie Brown in the 60s. He has died, committed suicide. Interesting. Odd character. Odd character to say the least. Whole thing was just weird because he was in jail. Think about that for a second. What? Oh, yeah. Where do you hear this? Head on over to the magical world of Twitter where everybody fights about everything because that's what happens. The sale of the Denver Broncos is expected to be the most expensive team sale in the history of United States sports, and it's also going to trigger a massive tax break for the next owner, which is huge. We're going to talk about that a little later. I find it amazing. You're going to spend almost $4 billion on a sports team? What are the Cowboys worth? They got to be worth $10 billion. Right? They have to be worth $10 billion. Totally. Mysterious object 4,000 light years away from Earth releases giant burst of energy. Could this be something? I don't know, but it's damn interesting. I always feel like if aliens come here, like you go on that date where the guy or the gal only sent you a picture of duck face from like the neck up, and you're faring pretty well in the looks department, and then you're going to meet somewhere and you look over and you see him or her and you're like, nope. I just feel like aliens are going to do that. They roll in, they look, and they're like, no, they're going to swipe left. Speaking of that, I sent Phil and Anthony something. There's a picture supposedly of Bridget Fonda. It kind of looks like her, but it looks nothing like her. And the internet's debating because nobody has seen her in public since 2009. But if that's her, she's beyond unrecognizable. I mean, you could sit her next to me and I wouldn't know who she is. And I loved me some Bridget Fonda. They said the last time people saw her in public was at the Inglourious Bastards premiere with her husband, Danny Elfman. So, talk about that. How hard it is to be beautiful when you're young compared to ugly when you're young. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Anthony sent me this a little while ago. This is progress, people. This is what progress looks like. Man steals huge 70-inch TV from Seattle store, released without bail by lenient judge. Maybe he was doing it for a cause, right? Like he's like, I got a cause. Voting rights, whatever his cause is. I'm mad because of the abortion bills. I need this. I need to feed my family. Well, I mean, yeah, but we gotta watch something while we eat. Man steals TV dinners to watch with his big ass TV. John Ray Lomack was seen on surveillance footage staking out a Target where he was banned from going after stealing from it at least 22 times. How hungry is your family? So he just basically rolls on up with the TV, right to the elevator. His black pants fall around his ankles, showing another pair below them, catching the attention of a nearby security guard. By the time he gets out of the elevator, his pants are back up, and more security's there to greet him. Lomack, who is reportedly homeless but has a big TV, he ignored them. I know it's a shocker. He ignored them. He continues to march out of the store, pushing the boxes despite several security guards surrounding him. Well, there's sweet windbreakers on. Once outside, he appears to pause to catch his breath from the struggle, because it is tough. You got a 70-inch TV. That's a tough thing. Finally, he's busted by cops at the scene. There was a physical struggle. The officers put him in handcuffs. One responding officer immediately recognized Lomack as the person who's trespassed a Target because of multiple thefts. No! So he goes to court, and the King County prosecutor says, hey, $5,000 bail, noting warrant activity on his 32 prior cases going back several decades. These charges were only a fraction of the stuff that he was accused of. However, the judge, Kuljinder Dhillon, ignored the pleas and instead released him on his own personal recognizance. The judge is also in a situation where there's a little, how should we say, issues with some of the other stuff as far as the judging is gone. Lowering a bail from $25,000 to $1,000 for a homeless man accused of gouging the eye of a Seattle police officer. Prosecutor said, this guy's going to do it again. And guess what? He was back in court January 26th, where he was again released by another judge. My God. Honestly, tell me, if you are uber progressive and you care about people, all jokes aside, what in God's name are you doing that thinks this is A, helping anybody when it comes to them, and B, good for society at large? From Los Angeles to San Francisco to Seattle to Chicago to New York, big cities across the country are just turning a blind eye at crime as if it's just somebody who's angry. They're upset. They want to feed their family. Crime's not a crime. It's not? Apparently not. You can steal a 70-inch TV with zero repercussions. Zero repercussions. And when you do get caught, all you've done is waste the taxpayers' time because activist judges and DAs release people. And even when you've got a DA who's not an activist, you've got judges that are. Do you see the insanity of this? I mean, do you see the insanity of this craziness? California, San Jose. Hey, we've had shootings here. Yeah, that's because people or criminals are bad. Yeah, well, we're going to punish the law-abiding citizens by making them buy insurance and pay money to a nonprofit as a fee every year to try to stop violence. Dumbasses. That's progression right there. People crapping in the street, people doing drugs. I'm driving. So last week we go see our buddies over at this dealership. It's one of my local clients, and they're really cool. We go over there. We go film some stuff, and we do some voiceovers there with them. And on the way back, you got to go through an area that used to be okay. My buddy's lived here. Our producer, he's lived here his whole life, and he's like, yeah, this place used to be great. Look at it now. Look at it now. And we're at a light, and there's just homeless people everywhere. And this dude sitting next to us, like on the, it's got those cinder blocks that you would see, as far as like construction goes. And he's just shooting up in broad daylight. And there's a cop 2 cars over, like to the left of us. And he looks over and he's like, there's nothing you do. Nobody wants to prosecute. Nobody wants to do anything. We've just welcomed it. That is the breakdown of society. You've got kids who don't want to work. You've got people who are saying it's okay to steal because you're feeding your family. You've got woke activists who are pushing no bail for anybody. It's nuts. San Jose's doing that insanity, and they turned 3 people accused of murder over to society on their own recognizance last year. And they're like, wow, we can't find them. Oh, I can't believe that. That's crazy. Bunch of idiots. This is what you get. Talk about a breakdown of society. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Peter, is it Dinklage? Is that how you say his name? I think so.
Yes, Dinklage.
Yeah, Dinklage. He's a hell of an actor, by the way. You could sit here and he's a little person, midget, dwarf, whatever. He's just a great actor. He's a hell of an actor. He really is. And he was on with Mark Maron's podcast, and they were talking about woke comedy.
What do you think? What's happening now with comedy, with the world we're living in now?
Yeah, I think that there's a problem again with some sort of tribalization. Now there's being
afraid to be funny or being afraid to say something.
Well, I think that
inappropriate, which is the basis of all.
I guess so.
Because of
politics,
the audience, or because of the comic?
Because of politics. I think that this idea that there is a woke comedy,
right,
and an anti-woke comedy is ridiculous.
Yeah, right. It's just comedy. It's the audience, though. He said something right there. It's audience. Remember 2 years ago when not the controversial, quote unquote, Dave Chappelle won, but his one before that on Netflix, when he was talking about, everybody's going to get me in trouble. And who's the everybody? He's all, it's you. And he pointed to the audience. That is so true. It's the audience. It's not what you say anymore. It's how it's taken. It's how it interprets.
I played Hervé Villechaize in an HBO film, and there was a lot of early backlash. How dare he play a Filipino? They were so liberal-minded, and I am as liberal and as anybody.
Right.
But they were so convinced because of how he looked, Hervé, that he was Filipino. That's not racism. What else? Because he's not. He was a Frenchman, and his physical condition made him look very cherubic. But they got very angry. How dare you do that?
And they didn't even have all the information.
Nothing. They just assumed.
Which is absolutely the number one thing it's in anything, right? In life, when you're making decisions. It's hard to make a decision in life if you don't have all the information. But people do it nowadays all the time. They make decisions on somebody or something, some issue, based not on facts, figures, and all the information, usually based on feelings, and they make it a snap decision. And what ends up happening? People get in trouble. We're going to pick this up here because I want to talk about it. I found what he said to be fascinating, not only about that and woke comedy, but also about Hollywood and their ideas. Because I find that to also be very, very, because Hollywood is struggling. The entertainment industry is baffled. But this goes back to when you live in a world that is a small bubble and there's groupthink, it's hard to entertain everybody else. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Talk about that straight ahead. Calibrate. Lose the weight. Now, it's losing weight, and then there's people who know that, look, I've tried everything. It just doesn't work. I'm not a diet person. I'm not a crash diet person. And that's where Calibrate comes in. Calibrate is wholly different. It's FDA-approved medication along with lifestyle changes that are so much easier because so much of what it's about is about doing it in increments in ways that work for you to set up for success. And that's what Calibrate does. Simple and easy. Do it at home. Absolutely fits into anybody's lifestyle, busy schedule, whatever it is that you're doing. Maybe you're working 70 hours a week. Maybe you're working a few hours a day, but you've got other things you do. This thing fits into anybody's life, and it's awesome. I'm telling you guys right now. Small changes, along with the FDA-approved medication, huge change in your body. Over 20 years of research they put into this medication. And let me tell you something, long-term drive and sustained weight loss with your metabolic reset that you get done is incredible. Comprehensive, fully integrated program. So the integrated program, you're going to get classes, one-on-one video coaching, and a video doctor visit. So what are you waiting for? Make this change. On average, Calibrate members lost 14% of their body fat on the earliest. Those, and many of them, have lost well over 20+%. Try it now. You will not be disappointed. Reset your life as well as your metabolism. Your weight doesn't reflect your willpower. Get back in control with Calibrate. $50 off a one-year metabolic reset when you use promo code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. That's $50 off when you use code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. More of what I think is interesting when it comes to the conversation of wokeness in Hollywood and what Peter Dinklage said about it, who, of course, for those of you who don't know, played in tons of movies. But yes, he's a little person. He's going to talk about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Oh, my God. Chad Benson Show.
I'm so tired. I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Game of Thrones star Peter Dinklage was talking with Mark Maron. So you guys know who Mark Maron is, comic and, kind of uber progressive, LA hipster kind of guy. He's been around for a long time. And his podcasts are very interesting. And so he's on there talking about, is there woke comedy, not woke comedy? It gets that. They talk about 1,000 different things. And it's very interesting because he starts to talk about Disney, right? And here's the perfect example of he's pointing out the hypocrisy of Hollywood and wokeness.
They're very proud to cast a Latino actress as Snow White.
Yeah.
But you're still telling the story of Snow White.
Yeah.
Seven Dwarfs.
Sure.
So, look, take a step back and look at what you're doing there.
Yeah.
I know. That makes no sense to me. You're progressive in one way, but you're still making that fucking backward story of seven dwarves living in a cave. What the f*** are you doing, man?
Yeah. He's like, oh, wait, what? Yeah. He says, they're living in a cave. Now, it's a book. We've overthought stuff. They're also magical. And you go read some of the original versions of this. And, now they've got this whole new, I was telling the guys, like, you read some of the new Snow White, I'm like, it's just Charlie's Angels. It's kind of what they've made. And Disney's responding as you would do. No, we're so sorry. Could you forgive us? Because you're not trying to tell a story. And that's where Hollywood is failing on all counts. Is Hollywood, like DC, right? They all live in the bubble. Manhattan, Los Angeles, San Francisco. They live above the fray and in a bubble. But they control a majority of the media. And so Hollywood trying to be woke and all of these things, it's not working. If you can tell a story that's great and compelling, and in it tells something that's activisty, people would watch it if it's entertaining. But if it comes at it strictly from a wokeness activist preachy way, nobody's going to pay attention. Nobody is.
If you tell the story of Snow White, the most up, cool, progressive spin on it, let's do it.
Yeah.
All in.
They knew they got a cash cow with that story.
Yeah.
So, it's
because people don't take risks.
Right. But the point is, we can win by appearing to be progressive, by casting a Latina, and we can just, run money through this story again. The dwarf community is tired of this shit.
Yeah, because Mark Maron's a dwarf. He's not, though. No, what it is, first of all, you're asking a business, hey, give us a bunch of money to try something. If you were saying, hey, make a Snow White, and here's $2 million, and you could be as experimental as you want, that's fine. If you're saying, hey, make a Snow White, and our budget is $175 million, you're probably going to have a lot of people that are going to say, I don't know if I want you to get experimental because I need you to make money. Because losing money is not part of the business. But in the wokeness world, it doesn't matter. The new Superman comic book sales suck. He's fighting climate change and he's bisexual. People aren't interested. Why are you messing with things? Because you're also messing with people's memories and their childhood. You don't think people are going to be pissed about that? Well, no, you don't think so? Of course they are. You missed the bar over and over again because you're setting at a bar at a level that you think everybody's at when they want something else. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Listen to the science. My side's always right. You should be canceled. So-and-so and this group's treated wrong and blah, 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 blah. The average person in America, I believe that's you and I, we're the exhausted majority. I actually think there's more of us. We just don't have anywhere to go, right? We don't have a home, right? We're politically, I always call myself a Ronin. If you guys don't know what a Ronin is a samurai, essentially, that wanders. It's not serving any master, just wandering around. So politically homeless. We need to hold our people more accountable. And we always say that, but nobody ever does that. Right? Nobody ever says, oh, we should hold them more accountable. Let's not vote for them. I mean, sometimes you'll hear somebody like that, but they're not serious. We should hold them accountable. I'm going to vote for this party or over here, the Green Party or the Libertarians or whatever. But then nobody ever does it, right? They may do it on a large scale, meaning they'll give, whatever flavor of the month is Marianne Williamson a vote, but they're not really thinking about voting independent across the board, local elections, any of that stuff. And part of that is because we're living in this world of insane partisanship, biases, lies, fake news, whatever you want to call it. I was telling the guys today, I'm seriously thinking about starting my own PAC. And I will give no money to any political party or person. We want to set up a PAC where we just call out the hypocrisy and lies of all of these ads that we're going to be inundated with for the umpteen next year plus. Where you know it's a lie, and then some people go, duh. Nobody's doing it, and we should. We should. It's the frustration level that everybody's got to answer, well, they did this with, I did this, and they did this, and we did that, and they did. Nobody's ever serious about fixing problems for the average American. Nobody's ever serious about having a conversation. Like voting rights. I would love to have a conversation about voting rights. I don't think we need to nationalize voting. I also don't think we need to stop allowing mail-in voting, especially in states where it's worked tremendously well. I think we could do voting rights in a real way that makes people feel like, take the politics out of the voting, if that's by having conversations about how do we fix this. Some places it's not broken. Other places there could be some issues. What's the best way of doing this that will ensure it being safe and make sure that people have access? Okay, let's have a conversation about that. Not the, it's you don't want black people to vote, right? Or it's you only want this so you guys can cheat. Like that's the because we live in, when people are allowed to live in the extremes, and we've talked about it. The other day, Axios pointed out the people that trend the most in politics, get the most reaction per tweet, per article that's posted on their Facebook, whatever it is, are the people who are the loudest. And how many of those people get stuff done? None of them get anything done. Because they're not there for that. Because we've allowed crazy to dictate too much. And we need to stop it. In the last 2.5 years, we have damaged our children because we've allowed politics to get in the way of reason and common sense. At first, you go, you know what? Let's find out what this virus is all about. We don't know what it's all about. Let's get a handle on it. Then after study after study after study after study comes out and said, look, it doesn't really affect the kids. And because it doesn't really affect the kids, they should be in the classroom. The flu's more dangerous. Well, they should wear a mask all day. No, they shouldn't. They don't need to wear a mask all day. They don't. Because study after study after study after study said that they're not spreading it. You can't. Believe the science, except for when it goes against what I want. Then don't believe the science. Los Angeles has instituted a N95 or KN95 mask mandate that includes outdoor as well as indoor for every child, regardless of your vaccine status. That's insane. But rather than having conversations, we make everything political. And the whole thing about that is we're not making things political because we're trying to influence. We're trying to win arguments. We're trying to win an argument over another human being, not actually trying to solve a problem. People are willing to lose the war right, to win a battle at this point. And it's ridiculous. That's why I'm serious. I'm seriously thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? We'll raise money and we're going to combat, we're going to combat the right and the left. We are. Nobody can be honest. And part of that's our fault, too. Think about this. Part of that is our fault. Part of that is us. Because we've allowed people who are politicians to go to places like D.C. or your state capital, wherever it is, and we've instructed them, you're our voice. Go get stuff done. And then they go there, and then everybody wants them to get only their stuff done, taking not into account that you have neighbors and other people that could be affected by stuff. And then saying, rather than get 70% of something, of which both sides agree to 50% of it, we'd rather you get 100% of nothing as to not piss off your Twitter followers, of which 99% of them aren't even your constituents. It is amazing. I'm like, you know what? Might do it. Just for the hell of it. Start a movement where we get the exhausted majority to get out there and to have a voice and to call people, you're full of crap, you're a liar, that's not real. That's not. Even when I watch a debate, like, you know, it should be debate, it should be a conversation. Like Joe Rogan, right? It's a big thing about, Joe Rogan, yeah. He has conversation. He's curious, right? He brings people on. He's curious. He's tons of people on. It's a conversation. Do I believe everything that's said by him and his guests? No, I don't. But they have a conversation, and there's a lot of times there's some stuff in there that's very good and it's useful, and most importantly, it's entertaining. But we want to shut that down. We can't even have a conversation. Shut that down. But when I watch that, I watch people having conversations. When I watch a debate, you know what I watch? Two people talking over each other, never addressing any of the issues about anything. We're heading into a season that is going to be nasty. The money's going to be massive. You're going to be inundated 24/7 with information that is going to be confusing and stupid half the time, because it's not going to be about anything other than the other side sucks less than I do, which, by the way, is not a way to get a job. Go for an interview and next time go, who'd you interview? They suck. I mean, I'm not very good, but they suck way worse than I do. Find out how that goes. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot of stuff to get to. Try to squeeze some stuff in. Some of that Joe Rogan stuff I find very interesting. We'll talk about that. Plenty, man. We do it. We pack it full, baby. You know what I'm talking about? Rough Greens makes any pet food better. I take supplements every day, like my body, to, knowing that I'm missing some nutrients, and my dogs miss nutrients. The dog food I give them is good, but it's shelf stable. It's meant to sit on a shelf. It's not meant to be living. That's where Canine Vitasmart from Rough Greens comes in. I sprinkle it all over the top of the dog's food. It brings the dog's food to life. Lo and behold, what do we have? We've got better food for them. But that stuff, that Rough Greens, that Canine Vitasmart, it's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9. It helps them. It helps their body. It helps their skin. It helps their digestive tract. And for my older dog, it has helped him with his joint pain. And it has given him energy that he's never had before. For over 2 years, Doodle's been taking this, and he loves it. They lick the bowl clean, and my younger dogs are happier and healthier. It's awesome. Try it right now before you buy it. They want you to cover the cost of shipping. It's a few bucks. They're going to give you a bag for free. RUFFgreens.com/Chad. Roughgreens.com/Chad. Go there, get a bag for free, or call 833-MY-DOG-77. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Denmark's going back to normal. They're done with the coronavirus. I think we all are done with it as well. It's another one of those things where you can't even talk about. I posted something early about that. People are like, it's apples to oranges. They're 80% vaccinated. We're 65% vaccinated. We're closer to about 70+% vaccinated. You count everybody, but not everybody can get a vaccine. There's a lot of people under the age of 5. And secondly, it's time. It's just time. This perpetual living in fear of this thing that you're never going to be able to stop, in hopes that people who aren't afraid to catch something will change their minds and get this vaccine, is no way to live a life. It isn't. It's no way to live a life. We got other things going on. Things like, I don't know, the Ukraine.
Meanwhile, they're destabilizing Ukraine from within. The economy's crumbling. You're spending hundreds of millions of dollars shoring them up. At what point do you stop playing Russia's game and take preemptive action now?
We're, as you know, not standing still. We can walk and chew gum at the same time. So we've been clear to Russia that there are two paths, a diplomatic one, but also a path of defense and deterrence.
Yeah, we don't know what to do. We have no idea what to do when it comes to Russia. School of thought, we should have went after them earlier. When sanctions. And the other school of thought is we got to wait till they do something because we don't want them to think it's a preemptive move. You've got the Ukrainians who are worried about Russia, but they're also looking at us going, your reaction to this feels like it's making it worse. And yesterday we had Mike Lyons on. He grabbed the podcast, check him out. He said, look, the thought of going after singularly Putin and the oligarchs and saying, we're not going to sanction Russia. We're going to sanction them. We're going to go after every dollar they have in foreign banks. We're going to find everything they have. We're going to stop any contracts they have anywhere with any of our allies, these oligarchs and stuff. We're going to make their life miserable. We'll choke them off money-wise is one option. But Mike also pointed out, here's a guy's a military analyst, dude, served in Iraq. This guy has been there, and he's pointed out, you don't get this far and then walk away. You're going to have to give Putin something where he can come back and says, I won this, or he's going to have to do something. And I'm sure we're doing everything diplomatic-wise. And then the thought that nobody's bringing up, but Mike brought it up, is Romania's right next door. What if they do and get involved? Then we're all getting involved in the NATO world.
And so even as we've been engaging in the diplomacy, we have been very resolutely preparing for Russia to take the other path, the path of aggression. And as I laid out, the work that we've done over the past couple of months in bringing allies and partners together, shoring up in very significant ways of our support for Ukraine, including the defensive military support, to make sure that defensive military assistance was being made available to Ukraine.
Yeah. And the European Union and our allies over there who depend on resources from Russia when it comes to, energy, they are now starting to make other arrangements in the event that something happens. What that will be, I don't know. I don't know what that'll be. It's probably won't happen. As one of the things we talked about yesterday, and then it's been, bantied about for the last several days, is with Xi, his closest ally, in many senses on the world stage, he doesn't want to take away from Xi in the Communist Olympics, so he probably won't do anything. But this could be one of those things where, if this happens, the panic in the markets could send prices through the roof. Where even for a little while, you could see gas prices and energy prices shoot up. And in a time when inflation is kind of kicking everybody in the shorts, I don't think that's something that a lot of people, especially people who are living in the just getting by area of life, can afford. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. The anti-work movement. If you guys have never heard about this, we already know we've got a labor shortage, but now we've got people out there, mostly millennials, who are just done working. Wait till you hear this. This is insane. This is part of the breakdown of society, and it's coming faster than we think. We got to get common sense on the tracks again. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The economy, somewhat red hot last year as far as growth went.
The U.S. economy grew at a 6.9% annual rate in the last 3 months of 2021. The growth in gross domestic product reflects both the depth of the damage done by the pandemic, but also the copious aid from the government, low interest rates, and vaccinations. Growth slowed a bit in more recent weeks due to the Omicron variant, but consumers have continued to spend, and economists hope growth resumes as the variant fades.
That's what they hope. But it was up. But with that kind of explosion, things get out of whack. And one of the things they talked about, that Aaron Katursky over there, our buddy over at Asian Youth, talks about is the copious amounts of money that the government has thrown at everybody and everything. And the everything, when it comes to the market, was called quantum easing, right? You go and you buy bonds at you throw billions upon billions of dollars a month at buying bonds. You make money cheap, which means people go out and then they start to purchase, because purchasing something at an interest rate that is virtually zero makes things affordable, which means there's demand. And when there is demand, people have jobs. That's a good thing. But then it can get a little overdone. And then you throw in the chaos of what we saw with the supply chains, and then the fact that after a while we had printed so much money and we become our trade deficit had gotten so big, you start putting it all together, and then that's where the inflation comes in, and now we're sitting in a world where we've seen inflation outgain any gains you're making at the your business, right? You've maybe gotten a salary and you get a little bump in pay. Well, you know what? Unless you've gone across the street and they've bumped you 10%, you're either breaking even or you're losing money depending on where you are in the country. If you got a 7% raise here in Arizona, while inflation, quote unquote, was 7%, we were at 9.5%. I mean, with our inflation. So your 7% raise, you're down 2.5%. Oh. Some good news, some bad news. The question is, what happens when they turn the spigot off and they're not throwing money and buying bonds? Money gets more expensive. Everybody talks about, well, we have more in savings now than we've had in forever, except for the fact that we had way more in savings prior to COVID. And that's changed a lot. Then you've got the worker shortage. And now you've got this bizarre, weird world of the anti-worker. That's right, the anti-worker. There's a subreddit blog in 2014 called abolishwork.com. Since then, it has grown exponentially, and it's an anti-work subreddit, and it's got another threads, and it's crazy. And you see how many jobs are available, and at the same time, how many people are even applying for jobs. That will also cause inflation and issues. Eventually, the labor force doesn't catch up to what's needed, and what starts to happen? Well, contraction inside of the economy. Now you've got a whole group of people. Read an article the other day. 1 in 8 able-bodied, working-aged males is unemployed. Unfathomable 2 decades ago. Crazy. And a younger generation, they're enjoying the I don't want to work thing.
Why do you like the idea of being home, not working, but still getting paid by corporate America?
So there's some misconceptions about the movement. So we're a movement where we want to reduce the amount of work that people feel like they're forced to do. And so we want to still put in effort. We want to put in labor. But we don't want to necessarily be in a position where we feel trapped. You just quoted from Office Space, where that person feels very trapped in their job. I think we're calling for a society where there's less of that.
So less of being trapped in your job. We've all been in jobs we didn't like, right? We've all been in jobs. But first of all, nobody's forcing you to do anything. And Jesse Waters points that out here. And again, Doreen, as you guys can hear, is non-binary, which is all this stuff plays into a lot of people just don't want to work and they just want to be creative, apparently.
But yeah, absolutely. People still want to do things. They just want to do things where they feel rewarded and they feel like they're in a good spot in their life and that their job respects them and stuff like that.
Doreen, but you're not being forced to work. This isn't slave labor. You've applied for a job. You've agreed to the terms and conditions of the employment, and you can walk away from that job at any time and quit. So I don't understand really what this is about, except it sounds like maybe people are just being lazy.
Impossible. Yes, lazy. Lazy, lazy, lazy. Now, Doreen's just starting to pick it up. Here we go.
Are you encouraging people to be lazy?
So I think laziness is a virtue in a society where...
Whoa. You think lazy is a virtue? You're insane. You are. If you've ever gone on to the thread, the Reddit thread, and see some of these people who are, first of all, it's not just about not working. And we'll get back to Doreen here in a second. I'm going to point this out. Is some of it is also about bilking people and their companies, finding ways to take as much as you can while doing as little as possible. Whether they rig it so, and during this craziness of Omicron and then Delta and Megatron and whatever else is out there, during all of these things, the at-home work thing has given more people opportunity to kind of not really have to work, which I think has sped this movement up. Well, continue about your virtue.
A virtue in a society where people constantly want you to be productive 24/7, and it's good to have rest. That doesn't mean you should be resting all the time or not putting effort into things that you care about. But I think one of the
what do you think is like a good work day? How many hours is a solid work day in your ideal society?
Sure. I mean, I think as much as people want. I mean, I personally work. I have like a 20, 25-hour work weeks, which I think is fairly good. So I would like less work hours.
So that's fairly good. 20, 25 hours a week. Fairly good. Fairly good. I wonder what Doreen does.
And what do you do, Doreen?
I'm a dog walker.
A dog walker. Okay.
Yes.
And how?
So
how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
Sure, I'm 30.
And is there something you want to do besides being a dog walker? Do you aspire to do anything more than dog walking, or is that kind of your pinnacle?
I love working with dogs. If I had to do this for the rest of my life, I wouldn't be super complaining. Dogs are wonderful animals. But I would love to teach.
Teach. So Doreen's going to go teach your kids. You guys ready for that? You guys ready for that? I wonder what kind of, Doreen probably has worked in the humanities somewhere.
What would you teach, Doreen?
Philosophy mostly. Just introduction to critical thinking, reason, stuff like that.
Well, I would love to take your class, Doreen. I would just be taking notes the whole time.
You'd be the only one, because Doreen's thing is you don't actually have to show up and work for it. And we can poke fun at Doreen all day, but the scarier thing is the fact that this thing has gone from about 100,000 people to over 1.8 million. People just don't want to work. They don't. They don't. Let's be honest. There's a larger group of people that are out there that don't want to work. They feel it's oppressive. They've been told that the person that owns the business is evil and bad. They've been told that that person is a thief and that you are no more than slave labor to them. And so, and then you've got the other side of it, which is, it's just, what that lady say on 60 Minutes a couple weeks ago about this? Like, well, you just want to find something that makes your heart sing? What the hell are you talking about? I love what I do. I am blessed. I worked hard to get here. I did. I sacrificed. I had nothing for several years. I busted my butt to get here, but I've done a lot of things. I have dug ditches. I love when people say, what have you done? I have dug ditches. I worked with my grandfather in the dump. That's right. The dump. That's what we used to call it. Well, what do you mean by a dump? You know where your trash goes? Oh, the landfills. Yes. I worked there for several years while doing radio and voiceovers with him, going and getting all of the metal and aluminum, tearing apart screen doors. I've done a lot. Never once in my life did I go, man, I'd like to do less. I've even talked about it here. I won the lottery tomorrow. I'm not quitting my job. I love what I do. I'm blessed. And yes, you should try to find something you love. And if you can make that a living, fantastic. But to do that, you have to work. When you listen to Doreen and read a lot of the other things that are out there in this anti-work movement, not just there, but other places, they want somebody else to work and to pay for stuff and to do things so they don't have to. That's insane. And that is not good for society. It isn't. The movements that are going on at a younger level, from all the gender stuff to all the wokeism to the anti-work, it feels like this is, you go look at Rome and the collapse of many great societies. This is kind of what it was. We got to a point where it was soft and it goes south. Now, is that going to happen tomorrow? No, because luckily there's 350 million people. How about this? I got a great idea. How about we take Doreen and everybody who doesn't want to work, and we tell them you guys no longer have to work here. But we have traded you to Mexico, Central and South America for people to be named later. Oh, I don't think they'd like that. I don't think so either. What do you think? Doreen has a phone. I bet. And a computer. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Oh, my Lord. And I'm all about figuring out great ways. I've said this, this year, I'm spending more time with my family. I love it. I'm spending more time with my daughter. I miss a lot of years with my son and he knew the sacrifices and stuff, but there's no work-life balance for me, and that's just kind of the way I'm built. But come on. My God, that is insane. It is. You know what else is insane? Letting these 20, 30, 40 pounds that you have on, guys, get away from you. Getting frustrated and going, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of these crazy diets, and then realize that crazy diet's not going to work because it's not real. That's why I'm doing Nutrisystem. Now, today, you're probably saying, Chad, okay, tell me about it. Somebody said to me yesterday, I did Nutrisystem like 12 years ago. The food was awful. I go, well, it's not the same. And I said, try this. And she was like, oh, my God. I said, exactly. Yesterday, my snack, chocolate chunk cookie with a hint of cinnamon. Delicious. For breakfast today, I had a muffin, a chocolate muffin. 30 grams of protein. That's right. Premium meals. Up, and away with that protein. Bigger, filling, tastier. New restaurant faves? Yes. They got beef and bean burritos, sesame beef with broccoli, toasted ravioli. You name it, they have got it. Easy to prepare. You can make it in minutes, like up to 5 minutes. Boom, there's your food. Advanced nutritional science helps with what? When you're losing that weight, to keep that blood sugar level steady so you start to lose the weight and start keeping it off. And it's delivered right to me. That's the other thing. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, you will love it. You're not going to be hungry, and you're not going to be eating cardboard. You're going to be eating real food that tastes delicious. Right now, 50% off. Boom, guys. 50% off. I'm down like 10, 11 pounds. I feel amazing. Go to Nutrisystem.com/Chad right now. 50% off. You heard me right. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. You're going to save 50% off all plans. Do not wait. Special offer. It's not going to last forever, but it's all plans. Ladies, if you see something you like, go for it. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. Saves you 50%. Results vary. Offer restrictions apply. See website for details. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
The new docuseries We Need to Talk About Cosby takes a look at Bill Cosby's legacy and sexual assault accusations.
Bill Cosby had been one of my heroes.
It's from W. Kamau Bell, who Cosby's rep Andrew Wyatt calls a PR hack in a statement about the doc. He says Cosby spent more than 50 years standing with the disenfranchised. He's the target of media lies and a victim of prosecutorial violations. That, he says, should be the subject for a professional documentary. And he again says Cosby vehemently denies all allegations made against him. We Need to Talk About Cosby premieres Sunday night on Showtime.
Except for the fact that you were convicted. You being out of jail based on the fact that the person who was the prosecutor before the person who prosecuted you said, we're not going to move forward on these charges. So in the civil case, you are free to talk. We would not use that against you because we're not going to prosecute you. So in the civil case, he spoke. The next guy comes in and goes, we are going to move forward, and we're going to take that information, and we're going to use it against you. And because of that, you're out of jail. You're not out of jail because they're like, we got DNA and it doesn't match Bill Cosby. My goodness. How about you do a documentary about all of it? Whoa, that'd be crazy, Chad. I don't know about that. I mean, crazy. Yeah, you do a documentary about everything. The whole 9 yards. His conviction, it being overturned, how much money he paid out, etc., etc. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Oh, goodness, Phil. This is why we got to get fit. That's why you guys got to go to Nutrisystem.com/Chad. A man won a trip to space on SpaceX first tourist flight. Yes, that's right. He won a trip. He was super, super stoked. Except for the part where he's 330 pounds and he exceeded the weight limit of 250 and had to give his ticket away. Oh, I don't know if I'd want it. I'm like, wait, 330? And they're like, we can't, anything more than what we're putting in here will not make the trip back. We won't get to where we're going. I'm going to hold off on that. Oh, could you imagine that? Gave it to his buddy, his high school and college roommate. Good luck. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Check out all our great podcasts and craziness throughout all the interwebs at Chad Benson Show. This is the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show.